Hello and welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 091 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from October 23rd, 1993, taped October 4th, 1993, from the Jellicoe High School in Jellicoe, Virginia. My name is Arya. And joining me, as always, is the Jim Valley to my Trae Wise Carver. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you today?
I'm a box of fluffy ducks. I guess I'm in an uncharacteristically good mood. I went to Collision on Saturday night here in Houston, and then Monday I got to thinking I have to so as we record it's Wednesday, and I have to work kind of early tomorrow. A chance to make some easy money. So I was like, I was thinking, if I didn't have to get up ass early Thursday morning, I would really consider going to Dynamite in Austin on Wednesday. And then I
And
looked
then,
and I realized that because of the Australia trip, they were recording Dynamite on Tuesday. So I said,
yep.
fuck it. So I took a trip last night and went to Dynamite, and it was a fantastic show. And got home at I pulled into my driveway at 3:15 a.m. and I don't know. It's just everything. I mean, life isn't perfect, but I don't
Mhm.
know. My health is a little better. My relationship with my wife has been better lately. And once I get my mental health and finances sorted, it's over for you bitches.
Who knows? Will this make this podcast, this episode better than usual or worse than usual? You know,
It
some people would say, you being, annoyed, angry, and upset might be what makes this podcast what it is.
No, and I get I'm morose a lot of the time, but the happier I am, the sillier I am, so I think it'll work out.
That's good. Maybe we need to get AEW to like just take up residency in Houston or Austin and just like, you know, let you go to every show every week, you know.
See, I really wish that I lived closer to Dallas last year when they did that residency in Arlington.
Yep. Um, all right. So by the way, I we're not really going to do play by play on it, but Hangman Page is walking out for his match. I don't, in case they edited these things out of order from how it taped last night.
Well,
Um,
that was what opened the Dynamite taping.
okay, so it's probably going to air in order. They made us tape out a few things here and there. Apparently, it's Louis Spicolli's birthday yesterday, according to a sign in the crowd.
R.I.P. Louis Piccoli.
Yep. All right, so let's dive in here. SMW number 91, October 23, 93, from Jellicoe. Definitely, no matter what we debated 2 weeks ago, this is definitely taped at Jellicoe High School in Jellicoe, Virginia. I think
We're
we can,
right back where we started almost a year ago. Jellicoe,
yes.
Tennessee.
Isn't it Jellicoe, Virginia that they're in?
No, Jellicoe, Tennessee.
Oh. Why did I think we had this discussion last time too, because I wrote Jellicoe, Virginia, but uh, according to you, it's Jellicoe, Tennessee.
It
All
is
right.
in the middle
Anywho,
of fucking nowhere, East Tennessee.
isn't that where most AEW show? Or wow, fuck, isn't that where most Smoky Mountain shows are? Is the middle of nowhere?
I mean,
Uh,
AEW did run the Knoxville Civic Coliseum a couple of weeks ago for Dynamite.
yes, and we didn't have a Smoky Mountain street fight, sadly.
Most
But
unfortunately, they should have had. I know that he hates Tony Khan, but they should have invited Dutch Mantell to pick a name out of a hat to challenge for the TNT title.
honestly, I mean, they invited Cornette when they've been in Louisville, but I mean, obviously Cornette's not going to go either. So it wouldn't surprise me if they had sent an invite to Dutch. But I mean, I don't expect he would have taken it even if they did, even if his health was better. Because I mean, I don't know if he was even in good enough health at that time to go because he's going through all of
Yeah,
his issues.
yeah, it's true.
But let's go to the intro of this show with Bob Caudle and Dutch Mantell.
Welcome to another exciting action-packed hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Professional wrestling the way it used to be and the way you like it. Hi, wrestling fans. I'm Bob Caudle, and with me here, Dr. Dirty Dutch Mantell. And we got a great hour in store for all you wrestling fans this week. You're going to see Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies. They're going to face a tag team that wants to challenge them for the #1 contender spot. Tracy Smothers is going to be here in action. We're going to hear from the Bullet, from Brian Lee, and also from Tammy Fytch. A junior heavyweight, U.S. junior heavyweight title match. Bobby Blaze against Chris Candido. And what about our Beat the Champ match, Dutch?
First of all, Bob, I want to say I'm glad you're back, and I missed you so much. And
That's not what I heard, Dutch.
Seriously, really. But to beat the champ today, to face the dirty white boy, my name is in the hat, and the name I am pulling out right now, Larry Santo, will beat the dirty white boy right here today on Smoky Mountain.
All right, fans, that action and much more coming your way, so stay right with us. Right now, let's go to the ring.
By the way, that Hangman match really lasted a long ass time. It's already over. Um,
He's gonna have a brawl with MJF later in the show that lasts about 5 times as long as that match.
I'd say spoiler alert, but by the time anyone listens to this, it will have aired last night. Um,
So
so
I just thought of something. I just thought of something that we've never addressed. We may have overlooked something important here.
first,
Is Larry Santo related to El Santo?
maybe he's El Hijo del Santo without the mask.
Oh, you know what? Hey, he was the ninja. He has a history of,
Yeah,
of taking on masked characters. We might be onto something
yeah,
here. We need to investigate this.
yeah. So we cannot prove Larry Santo is not El Hijo del Santo. I gotta say, that's one of those things that I can't imagine any other podcast would have linked those two together.
Yeah, we are unique. We're not good.
Uh,
We are. It's debatable, and you can debate whether or not we're good. You can't debate that we're not unique.
oh Lord, yes, we're definitely unique. Um, so the match today, we're gonna have Bobby Blaze versus Chris Candido, Dirty White Boy versus El Hijo de Santo for the Beat the Champ, and the Heavenly Bodies versus the Mystery Team. Now, I don't know if I knew because I knew from memory who it was, but I just knew based on how things were going who it was going to be. When did you figure out who the mystery team was going to be? Because I know when we talked 2 weeks ago, you didn't know who it was.
Okay, I'm really embarrassed when the music hit. I
Hey,
don't know. I felt
do
dumb. I'm like, why? That's so obvious. I don't know why. I didn't think about it. It was like the most obvious thing.
you remember our debate about UK football a few weeks ago? I
Yes.
think I got you beat for a little bit here.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, but yeah, like I remember like when you said you didn't know, I was like, really? Like it seems pretty obvious, but hey, I'm gonna let you go with this
Oh,
one.
it was
Why
so
spoil the
obvious.
surprise?
Like, am I stupid?
You
Ugh.
to think this is you in a good mood. So I wrote at the time, and I think I was lying when I wrote this, or I ended up being a liar, but at the time I didn't feel like I was lying. We start the show with the second greatest moment in Smoky Mountain Wrestling history, as the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions Rock and Roll Express take on Chris Canyon and the return of Juicy Johnny.
My new favorite tag team is Juicy Canyon.
There's probably not a whatchamacallit, an Urban Dictionary lookup for Juicy Canyon.
I'm not gonna look.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not even gonna look, but yeah. Um, I had to laugh because during the introductions, he made the motions around his waist like he wants the titles. And I'm like, all right, I'd put the belts on you, but uh, I think the company would go out of business a lot quicker if they listen to me on this one. So
No.
sadly, Bob did not know the difference between Canyon and Juicy Johnny. because I think at one point Juicy Johnny was in the ring and he called him Canyon. And note to Bob Caudle, one of these two is one of the greatest offensive wrestlers of all time, and the other is Chris Canyon. Um, and they mentioned here that the Rock and Roll Express have shown up in the WWF, and then Morton pins Juicy Johnny with a double drop kick. It was a perfectly fine opener.
Yeah, it was good. It was only like a little bit over a minute, but yeah, I just the novelty that it's Canyon and Juicy Johnny. I enjoyed that. It's funny the Coddle not knowing which was I can't remember who they were, but I was like on a recent Raw, and by recent Raw I mean 1993. Uh, like there was some enhancement match that Vince had the jobbers mixed up, and it was like I knew it because they were both like I don't know. Say it was like Dwayne Gill and Barry Horowitz, and he had them mixed up.
It was like known jobbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Reno Riggins and Russ Greenberg probably would have been easy to not figure out who was who.
I could not tell you which one of those was which, and I've watched them both wrestle recently.
I say Reno Riggins was on this show at the beginning of 1993. I think you started at the very tail end of his run. And by the
Yeah.
way, boo to the AEW cameraman because they're doing the six-man tag title match. And who's that? Roderick Strong just sent Wheeler Yuta into the barricade, and Wheeler literally had to jump over the camera cord in order to run into the barricade.
Yeah, that's a badass match.
Yes. So while I'm busy watching AEW, let's go to this promo. The first of some good long period, because we're going to listen to a lot of Jim Cornette here in the next few minutes. Let's go to the first part of a Heavenly Bodies and Jim Cornette promo to build up to our tag team match.
This right now, Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies, a team you said that was going to take care of the Rock and Roll Express. We know who they are now, Jim.
Well, let me just say this to you. Let me just explain something. The Rock and Roll Express have followed us to the World Wrestling Federation. They would follow us to the ends of the earth. They dogged us here at Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Every footstep that we took, they were right along behind us. So I decided to dog them a little bit. The Moondogs, the wildest, craziest tag team of all time. They will bring anything to the ring. They will do anything. They don't care what happens, whether they get fined or suspended or banned. It's happened all over the country, all around the world. All they want to do is chew the Rock and Roll Express up like a couple of yesterday's soup bones and get them out of my hair. Meanwhile, the Heavenly Bodies are going to be concentrating on the World Tag Team title, going to be concentrating on a lot of things going on in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and then, once the Rock and Roll Express have been decimated and defeated, those belts will be lying there ready for the Heavenly Bodies to pick up. But the only thing that I'm upset about, I want to know who is this team that has requested a contract for television here today to take us on for the #1 contender spot. I don't know any top tag team that's made any kind of move or gone anywhere. So I want to know who these Johnny-come-latelys are, some nobodies that think they're going to come in here and make a name and a reputation off of Jim Cornette's Heavenly Bodies. I want to know, and I want to know right now.
You're going to find out, Jim, and you're going to find out soon enough.
Well, I want to know right now.
You're going to find out when you get into the ring who they are.
Well, I ain't going to take that. I ain't going to leave.
We need to know now, Bob Caudle.
Yeah, we want to know now.
You tell us you know who that top.
We ain't going to leave. I don't care if you need to take a commercial. I don't care what you need to do. We ain't going to leave.
We want to know now, Bob Caudle. Now.
No, you're going to find out when you get into the ring.
We ain't going to leave. We're going to stay here through this commercial break. We're going to stay here. We're not going to leave.
So I forgot to mention during the Rock and Roll Express match is that they mentioned that the Rock and Roll Express has shown up in the WWF. So, Cornette mentioned that here. So that is coming up. And actually, as we talk, I realize, what I never did?
What's that?
I never looked up to see what else happened in the world of wrestling on this day. Oh boy, this is a hell of an episode we got going here. I must tell you that.
Well,
so anyway,
since this is the rated R Supercast, we can just sing on this day. I see clearly.
Oh, like I was waiting for you to like curse or something because I'm like, okay, what's R-rated about it? But and technically, this show isn't R-rated. The Tuesday show is R-rated, even
Oh,
though it's still us being goofballs. It still really is the rated R show. But hey, whatever. Um, so yeah, so they're bringing in the Moondogs, and I gotta warn you, Trae. I'm sorry to have to let you know this, and I hope this doesn't dampen your good mood. And in that case, I may just need to shut up here for a few weeks or a few months. This is not the greatest moment in Smoky Mountain Tag Team Wrestling. Is this Moondogs coming in? You know,
darn.
that
Well, they
I know
made it
you're probably
clear.
thinking, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know you go ahead.
They made it clear in the local promos that those Moondogs matches are unsanctioned by Smoky Mountain Wrestling because Smoky Mountain Wrestling will not license the Moondogs. So surely we won't have to see them too much. They can even get licensed. I'm gonna regret that,
I'm
aren't I?
pretty I'm pretty I'm pretty sure they're here until at least February.
Oh.
And but yeah, slightly more importantly than the fucking Moondogs, Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies are pissed. They want to know who this team is that they're going to be wrestling against today, and they don't, you know, they, are going to stay here until they find out. And part of me was hoping that, it was the main event and that they would just stay there at the announce desk for like 35 minutes or something.
You know what? That'd be great. Just Cornette doing commentary and getting more and more apoplectic for an hour. Oh, he might
Now,
have a stroke.
now, would you actually want him doing commentary, or like be standing there while Caudle and Dutch are doing commentary, but you can hear him screaming into the headset?
Yes, yes, that. Yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, yes. Because we want poor Jim Cornette to retroactively die of a heart attack here.
We reviewed three shows that are 10 years apart, and Jim Cornette is the best part of two of them, and will be the best part of the third one next year.
What's the third one?
World class. I don't know how good their world
Oh,
class run is.
oh,
I don't
I
know.
I I assumed that you were like talking about something in like mid 2000s. I'm like, are you watching OVW? And I'm not. What the hell?
Hey, maybe that's a project for when we get through with Smoky Mountain.
Well, the problem is those tapes don't exist. I mean, they exist somewhere, but nobody with them has ever uploaded them onto any torrenting sites. Like I
That's
know
crazy.
Nick Dinsmore started posting full episodes a while ago, but then he stopped. I'm assuming he got a good old cease and desist letter from Stanford, because technically they bought the tapes.
It sucks shit that they bought all that stuff and then they're just hoarding it and it's going to degrade and we're going to like just fucking just do something for posterity and just take the time. Like you have that fucking WWE Vault YouTube channel
Yep.
and it
And
look, you're going to make more money putting shit on there than you are just having it sit in a vault and degrade.
they just started the NXT channel where they're putting up all the old NXTs, along with all the old takeovers and everything. So, I know it's all still just WWE, but hey, OVW, I know it wasn't owned by WWE, but for fuck's sake, you can easily put that up, and I guarantee there'd be an audience, like especially if you say, hey, here is the beginning of John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar. Here's them starting in wrestling. And, I guarantee fucking there'd be an audience for that.
I would love if we could do like 2001 to 2006 OVW.
I well, me being me, I'd want to start as soon at the beginning of the Cornette era, so like September of '99.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
But yeah, like you can get bits and pieces online. Like I know that there's some people like somebody's posted like an hour of highlights from a couple months in 2000, but it's like to me it's like no, it's not the same. I want the whole goddamn thing, god damn it.
Yeah, it
Um,
frustrates me that like the Georgia footage from the late 70s, early 80s that is online is like cut up the same way.
yeah. But at least that like it's the 70s and early 80s, so you kind of understand it because
Yeah, yeah, that's
but
fair.
but it's like this is the late 90s and zeros, and Danny Davis, kept those tapes in as good a condition as possible. Um, and by the way, CM Punk, you gotta say, hey, here's CM Punk early in his career before he went to WWE. It's like, you know, so it's not like they don't have enough fucking people that they can, promote this around. But
Yeah, yeah.
and anyway, now that we've taken a break in between the Jim Cornette segments on the show, let's go back to
Again.
Jim Cornette. Yes. There's something about these long segments that we just do not like covering in one fell swoop. Uh, let's go back to Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies with Bob Caudle.
I told you. Listen, we're not leaving. I'm not leaving. He's not leaving. And he's sure not leaving. We want to find out who they are right now, man.
As a matter of fact, I'll tell you better than this.
I'll tell you how you can find
Better than this.
out.
We're going to get in the ring right now. Shut up, Bob Caudle. We're going to get in the ring right now. And we double dog dare whoever these pretenders are, whoever these Johnny-come-latelys are, get in the ring and show yourself, and we'll beat you just like we beat all the rest. We're going to the ring right now. If they got any guts, they'll come on.
All right, fans. That's what they've been wanting. They're going to get it right now. There they go.
All right. So, yeah, they're pissed off. They want to know who the team is, and sure enough, music that I can't play because it's gonna get copyrighted starts. And who comes out, Trae? That's right, Trae. The
I'm
Bruise
sorry.
Brothers came out.
I'm sorry. I
Uh,
forgot to unmute. It
no
was
worries.
it was Heavy D and Big Ron.
It was the Harris's, and yeah, um, it was something, um, and like even if you didn't figure it out, I think a lot of the audience figured it out, because there was a pretty decent pop there for the Harris's when they came out. Now Dutch got in the ring to try to get cooler heads to prevail. So we're gonna go to that right here, and it's gonna be Dutch is in the ring with the Harris's, the Heavenly Bodies, and Jim Cornette, and we're gonna play that out right here.
The top tag team in the country, and you should be taking us up to WWF. And the best way for us to prove that to you is to go head to head with these guys and let the best team win. And that's the way it'll be. We're the top tag team, and that'll prove that to you.
Jimmy, let me get something straight. Hey, wait a minute, Tom. Let me get something straight. Are you trying to tell me, look me in the eye, are you trying to tell me that you went to the Smoky Mountain Wrestling promoters, you got this contract just so you could get in the ring with the Heavenly Bodies and prove who the better team is?
Exactly.
Well, wait a minute. Settle down, boys. Wait a minute. Come here, Tom. Tom, come here. Settle down. Let me explain something to you two, and I want you to listen real good. Because if you're going to act like you've got the intelligence of all these redneck wrestling fans out here, I'm going to break it down for you so you can understand it. There's two types of people in this world. There's labor and there's management. You are labor. I am management. You understand what I'm saying? I gave you a job to do. And all these people, I'm sure, can understand what I'm saying. When you don't do your job, you either get demoted, docked, or fired. Now, you're lucky that you didn't get fired. I made an example out of you. You didn't do what I said, so I put you on the sidelines, and I told you to watch and learn from the best. But just like the rest of these rednecks out here, you'd rather take matters into your own hands, probably go on welfare and food stamps instead of listening to what your boss says. So I got news for you. You've embarrassed me out here, and if you pull another stunt like this, then I'm going to make sure that you're back there in one of those biker bars like I found you hanging out with all the white trash, just like your stinking brother here. I'm not in this. I'm not in this. Wait a minute. Wait a minute! Wait! 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 Shut up! Wait! Bruise Brothers! Bruise Brothers! I'm sorry! I'm sorry! I apologize! Listen to me! I shouldn't have said that! I didn't mean to say something like that. I'm sorry, I lost my head. I tell you what, I think it would be best, I believe it would be best if we went ahead and had the match like you say. And as a matter of fact, no tennis racket involved. Let's have the match like you say, and may the best team win, and I sure do apologize for what I said.
All right. So after Ron or Don cut a promo that put me to sleep, Jim Cornette cut a promo that woke me back up, and he said a line that was very reminiscent of one that Ted DiBiase used to say when he was doing the, gimmick where he'd pay the fans to do degrading things, where if you don't do the job, you don't get the money. It's like if you don't do the job properly, you get fired, according to Mr. Jim Cornette here. And then he
Yeah.
threatened to send Ron or Don back to the biker bar with his brother Don or Ron. Who
I
was it that he was
appreciated.
sending back to the biker? Sorry, go ahead.
I appreciated the little lesson on labor theory that Cornette gave us there.
Yes, it was so nice of him, to do that. Um, and so Cornette finishes the promo by throwing some powder into Don or Ron's face, and then waylays the other one with a tennis racket. The Harrises recover, and the Heavenly Bodies run for the back. And I wrote that this was the best Harrises match ever.
Um,
Uh,
I I am going to say something similar in a few minutes.
okay. Um, but any thoughts on this Cornette promo or the Harrises turning babyface?
I want to get to the next segment before we talk about it.
Okay, okay. By the way, I finally got my answers to who Tracy Smothers is going to feud with next. I don't know if it's just going to be a house show thing or a regular feud. But Chris Candido, he's going to be feuding with, which just sounds
I would pay several monies for that match.
yes. Would you pay more or less money than you paid for either of the AEW shows this week?
You know, there was a period where their tickets were like really overpriced, and I'm sure that the ringside stuff are still like
Yep.
ridiculous. But I
The v
got like you saw my pictures. I had really nice seats that I was really happy with, at $25 both of them.
Yep. The VIP tickets that I had for Full Gear, I didn't pay for them, but they were a nice, pretty penny.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah. Um, but yeah, my thought is, and I said this with the when Taylor Swift had her concerts a few years ago, and a lot of people were complaining about how much the ticket prices were. My thought is, if people are going to buy them, then I'd rather see the company get the money than a scalper, because the scalper is going to buy if the scalper is going to buy the tickets and increase the price to an insane amount. Well, you know something, I'd rather pay the company that I'm wanting to go see. Um,
People who like scalp tickets or they flip like rare collectibles and stuff,
Hmm.
You people are just the lowest fucking form of capitalist scum. Just you're like scum sucking leeches on the bottom of capitalism's feet.
Yeah. And I say this as somebody who is going to buy tickets to WrestleMania soon, and those tickets are fucking astronomical. But I also remember last year when I bought resale tickets, you know, one like the ticket I got for day two, which was a lot nicer than the ticket I had for day one, it was a substantial uptick, probably even more substantially than the original ticket price to begin with.
Yeah. So you
Um,
made your decision about WrestleMania. Have you made your decision about y'all in yet?
Oh yeah, I can say almost definitely I'm going to be at y'all in. Um, it's just I'm going to hide out at your house for a bit.
Yeah, it'll be
Um,
fine.
so we get a stand up here when some guy ran in to scream that they're destroying everything backstage, and conveniently that's when the heresies and the heavenly bodies come running out with Juicy Johnny and pretty much all the undercard guys. Chris Comet. Pardon me, I'm having a little bit of gas here. Chris Comet came out, Chris Canyon was there, and it was just a crazy, pardon me, it was just a crazy 4.5 way brawl because Cornette was,
Yes.
semi-regularly getting involved. But in a lot of ways, one second, in a lot of ways, it reminded me of that amazing Heavenly Bodies Fantastic Sprawl from June 1992, when they brawled up the backstage area through a hallway and out the door. Except this, because they fought outside immediately, and unlike that Heavenly Bodies brawl, it was during the day. This was at night, so you really couldn't see that well because it's not like, it would look fake if the outside was well lit and had a whole bunch of lights and everything all over the place. So they were using, the legitimate building lights to light it and shit like that. So it didn't look as pretty as a similar brawl would in 2025, but it looked more real than a similar brawl would in 2025. Um,
Okay, I don't know what it was. Parts of this show looked like they were filmed on a cheaper camera than they usually use.
it's possible, you know. Is they like they're making more money, but they're still in the red, so I'm sure they're looking for anywhere to cut costs. Um,
Yeah.
by the way, some guy, and I know you started watching wrestling around the time this guy reached his quote unquote peak, but some guy who ran in and told the announcers about this reminded me, at least his hair reminded me, of former NWA World Champion Colorado Kid Mike Rapada.
That's a deep cut name there.
I just always love, when talking about the great NWA World Champions of all time, you talk about Ric Flair, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, Tokyo Monster Kahagas, and Colorado Kid Mike Rapada.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
know if I've ever seen him wrestle. I probably have like years ago. Yeah, and he was yeah. See, I was
I,
trying to remember. Let me get. Yeah, okay. He won the title. That was after Noya Ogawa vacated it. He beat Jerry Flynn in a tournament final. God, I bet that was a banger. At the Fort Homer Hesterly Army in Tampa. Same
I,
building that fucking Terry Funk won the title in. Mike Rapada won the title. And then he lost it to Sabu. And then he won it back from Sabu. And then he lost it to Steve Corino.
I saw the match of him beating Sabu. I don't think I ever saw the match with him versus Jerry Flynn.
We got to track that down for this is a match that happened.
Yes. I think Colorado Kid Mike Rapada versus Sabu could also qualify as that. And of course,
Oh,
this was all
definitely.
in the this was all the pre-TNA era. But Colorado Kid, he when we were randomly in Northeast Pennsylvania getting um oh my God, what was that Memphis show that used to air after the USWA went out of business? Not Power Pro Wrestling. It might have been like maybe like Music City Wrestling, but that sounds too stupid to be real.
I
But whatever
think
the
I think
wrestling
there I think there was a Music City Wrestling in
that might
Memphis.
have been what that might have been what it was, but I just remember it used to air on our local access channel in like 1998, and Colorado Kid Mike Rapada was the big star of the company.
Oh
Um,
wow! So
yeah,
he worked the Memphis territory and then went to the Florida territory. Had a hell of a run.
exactly, and he was a member of R&B Security in WCW.
Oh, was he? That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, like literally, like he's one of those people. If you see his hair, you're like, I know who that is because it's that kind of bushy hair. And
Yeah.
Samoa Joe is going to get to do to Serpentico what Nyla Rose has always wanted to do.
Yeah. Yes.
Poor Serpentico. Um, so let's see, where the hell was I? There we go. So by the way, in the melee, Cornette also hit Juicy Johnny with the racket, so that turned him into a heel for me.
Oh.
And then before we get your final thoughts on this, let's go to the Harrises, who, yes, somebody gave these guys a microphone a second time. Let's go to that. Oh yeah, by the way, during the brawl, they knocked over the 8,000 pound announce desk, and one of
Yes.
the other Harrisy just picked it up and set it back up. So, if you ever doubted that these guys were strong. All right, let's go to that now.
It's like we tell everybody, we're the best in professional wrestling today. And nobody, but nobody, talks to the Bruise Brothers and embarrasses us like this. We might not be the best wrestlers, but by God, everybody knows, can't nobody stand toe-to-toe with us in a final on Raw. And by God, Jim Cornette, you're gonna learn now. If I can get my hands on you, I'm gonna break you in a million pieces, boy.
I don't know which Harrisy cut that promo. For what it's worth, it was not, the worst Harrisy promo of all time. And for what
uh.
it was adequate.
Okay. I'm gonna push back. I will say this might be the best Harris's promo, and between like the angle and the brawl and the promos, all of them, like I think this is the best thing that the Harrises have ever been involved in, this babyface turn.
I mean, it's not like, there's a whole lot of options here.
Creative control,
Uh, yes.
8 ball and
Creative control.
skull.
Yes, they did not get the chance to cut too many long-winded promos, and good promos at that. In TNA, when they were part of Sports Entertainment Extreme, or oh
When they
my God, do you
wrestled
remember?
what was that team? Phi Delta Slam.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Do you remember when they brought them back to wrestle Phi Delta Slam and gave them a DOA knockoff team name?
Oh, I do
It was like,
kind of remember that, but I don't remember what it was.
yeah, and because the whole storyline was Tracy Brooks and Trinity were fighting over who got to sleep with Dusty Rhodes.
Oh.
Yeah, that was basically. You'll be shocked to know who the Booker was at the time, but they're fighting over who got to sleep with Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty had them and Johnny Fairplay go out and find a tag team on one pay-per-view, and Johnny Fairplay he could only find like I think he found like Mikey Batts and somebody else who were like just the
Gerald
jobber
Clark.
crew of TNA. Yeah, maybe even Mikey Batts and Jarrell Clark and Tracy and Trinity got the Harrises and Phi Delta Slam and Johnny Fairplay. I think this was his last appearance in TNA. He was voted out of uh, the TNA backstage segment. It was so
Yeah.
hilarious.
Did they actually do the voting out?
I don't think they did like the formal,
Oh,
holding up the
that would have been
ballots or whatever. Yeah,
funny.
yeah. Um, but yeah, this was a solid angle, and it took the Harris's from being, the second heel tag team to the second or third babyface tag team. To be honest, they're probably at the same level at this point as Scott and Steve Armstrong, just worse in ring.
I feel like just based on history, uh, it can be challenging to book a babyface turn that feels deserved. And I feel like this angle is like one of the better babyface turns that I can think of offhand.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like, people were begging for a Harris's babyface turn either. But,
You don't know my you don't know my favorite babyface turn of all time?
Batista when he turned on Triple H.
Oh, no, that was great too. But no, the Undertaker's original babyface turn when Jake Roberts said,
Oh,
"Whose side are you on anyway?" And Undertaker goes,
not
"Not
yours.
yours."
Yes. Uh, d and I mean, I remember because that was the first Saturday night's main event I ever saw was the one that ended with Jake threatening to attack Savage and Liz as they came through the curtain, and the show ended before you could see it. And then they
Oh,
aired it the next week on Superstars, and that was tremendous.
wow, yeah, love that.
Yeah. Um, and so from here, things calm down. The table gets put back together and stood up by the Heresy. And we go to the ring for a match. Oh, yeah, because by the way, that match doesn't actually happen. We're not going to get the Heresies versus the Heavenly Bodies, at
Hey,
least this week anyway.
I heard the bell. That was a valid match that went to a no
Okay.
contest in about 40 seconds.
All right. So then it was a valid match. And somehow, despite the number one contendership status being on the line, only one of these two teams are going to get a future tag team title match. Um,
Huh.
So then we get Beat the Champ TV champion Dirty White Boy versus El Hijo del Santo, maybe? Larry Santo. Um, I don't know why, because I mean, White Boy is still in his Yankees jersey, and he's been there in his Yankees jersey since March. I just noticed that he's still being introduced from New York City. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
guess they
White
haven't
Boy
formally
wins.
gone all the way with the babyface turn yet.
It's weird, and we're gonna get to it here in about 5 minutes after I play the next promo. But like this is a fucking masterful babyface turn. Like they did a really good
Yes.
job with the Harris's, but like this white boy thing, like I might as well just say it now. Like first of all, he beats Larry Santo, the Bucksmart Blasters. Anybody surprised to hear that? Anyway, so 6 months ago, Dirty White Boy burned a Confederate flag on television and got mega heat. And not mega as in the former AEW head of legal mega, but mega as in MEGA. He got so much heat that was it the Klan that threatened to murder
Yes.
him if Tracy? Yeah, that the fucking
Yeah.
Klan went to Tracy Smothers at an SMW show at the Bluegrass Brawl and basically said if he doesn't win the title from Dirty White Boy, they'll take care of him tonight. And any chance of that not being what happened, got changed.
Now,
And
Cornette
then,
did say that that was already the plan for Tracy to win the title
yeah,
that night.
yeah. By the way, did you get the Willow promo where she gets attacked by
Yes.
Marina? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Poor Willow. I love her. Um,
She's wonderful.
anyway, so that was 6 months ago that he had so much heat that they had to make sure that the title was being taken off of him to prevent him from being murdered by the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
Now, now they have turned it this fast into an angle where he's about to turn babyface because the two least sympathetic people in the promotion have become the most sympathetic people in the promotion because at the end of the day, you feel bad when old people get taken advantage of. And that's
Yeah.
what's happening here. And everyone can see that. And everyone knows, it's been drilled into our heads, that White Boy was a big fan of Mr. Ron Wright, and he like legitimately like this is what it is here. And we're watching an old man being taken advantage of, and his dickhead mentee is going to save the day for him and turn him into the biggest babyface in the company. And the old man is also one of the biggest dickheads in the company himself, which just tells you how genius this is because they're going to turn both of them into huge baby faces here.
You have been saying since they first started, like since before they started teasing it, that this was your favorite angle in SMW history, and I didn't know, like
Yes.
I didn't know what was coming. It like just I fall more and more in love with this angle every week.
Yes. And it's such a simple angle, but it's so amazing. And it helps too that we have the perfect pair of assholes on the other side of the ring. Um, let's so without any further ado, let's go to the promo here. Primetime Brian Lee, Tammy Fytch, and Mr. Ron Wright are here to cut a promo. Let's go to that now.
Now with Primetime Brian Lee, our heavyweight champion, legendary Mr. Ron Wright, Tammy Fytch. The white boy, he's after that championship belt that's around your wrestler's waist. You realize that, don't you? You're aware of that?
Ronnie has been such a sweetheart. He's buying me all these gifts. He bought me diamonds. He bought me a new bracelet. He brought me new earrings. He's been such a sweetheart. But we're not really worried about the dirty white boy because we know how to treat Ronnie the way he needs to be treated. He's on new medication, and he's feeling better than he's ever felt before.
Brian, what about this and the white boy? What about the white boy?
What about the white boy? White boy, what are you going to do? What about it? What do you mean, what about white? I don't care nothing about white boy.
Let me ask Mr. Ron Wright. I want to know, Mr. Ron Wright, do you miss the dirty white boy?
Bob, I was sitting here thinking about when me and my brother back many years ago, we won that Tennessee state title. I can't remember whether it was in Johnson City, Knoxville, Memphis, or somewhere, but I've really had some fond memories in this wrestling life. We've won them titles with somewhere, and things has really been kind of out of focus, but winning them belts was some of the greatest highlights in my life, Bob. It's just something that it's hard for me to remember and get all straight when it was and how it happened, but it was something, I'll tell you. Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing, back in my career, it spread such a long time. I won many titles. I can't remember the dates and where I got them and stuff, but I'm telling you, it seems like things get jumbled up and it's hard to kind of get everything straightened out, but due time I'll get it straightened out and get the dates straight on it, and we'll try to get it worked out.
Well, gosh, I found out everything except whether or not he misses the dirty white boy. What about it?
I think I want to go home, yeah. Let's go home. Yeah, let's go home.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm taking you home. Come on, I'm taking you home.
Ron, you don't want to go with him.
Come on, Roger.
Don't let him go. Don't let him go.
Ron, you want to stay with him.
All right, you two, you listen up, and you listen up real good. Either one of you two hurt this man any way, shape, form, or fashion, and there's going to be hell to pay. You understand me, folks?
Well, fans, we talked about it before as Primetime Brian Lee, Tammy Fytch, they take Ron Wright right out of the ring area, but we talked before the feelings that the dirty white boy has for Mr. Ron Wright, and evidently they are as deep as Dutch and I had talked about earlier, those feelings. We'll be back. We're going to have more.
All right. So this is amazing listening to it. It's even better if you're seeing it. Because while Mr.
Yes.
Ron Wright, he's on his new medication that's obviously not good for him because it's making him, a little dopey, not really knowing where he is. Because you hear him, he starts talking about teaming with his brother, and they were the tag team champions, but he doesn't really remember that either. But behind him, Primetime Brian Lee is flashing Mr. Ron Wright's credit card, and Tammy Fytch is mocking him behind his back, and they're just making fun of this poor old man who they are horribly taking advantage of here. You know, this is, you know, a bit batshit crazy.
This is such like this is such great storytelling, and what frustrates me is I just know that like if this promo aired today, people would be like, "Oh, that old man sucks. Why do they let him talk on TV? It promo sucked." Completely missing the point that the the long rambling, saying nothing, not answering the question.
That was the
His
point.
mental faculties are declining because these evil assholes are not giving him his medication and taking care of him.
Yes. They're either not giving him his medication or giving him the wrong medication, and he's losing his faculties. He's fucking playing the role of an old man who's having trouble getting by. If Bob Collier were to ask him where he was and what year it was, I doubt he would have gotten that right. You know? But that's the point of this. These two assholes realized that this poor old man, who we were led to believe had no money, but he at least has some money. But this old man has some money, and they're taking advantage of him. They're taking out. I'm assuming they're taking out credit cards in his name, although it's possible he had his own credit card. But either way, they're still using his credit card under his name to buy expensive jewelry and dresses and vacations. And you know, and notice, by the way, this week, they did not mention, Tammy did not bring up a single time that Ronnie is going to adopt her.
Yeah.
So it's like, not that was
Look,
ever a serious thing, but like now, like she's realized that she can take advantage of him without being related.
love everything about this angle. Love everybody involved in it is doing a great job. And Mr. Ron Wright is the national treasure.
Yes. Him and Harley Cameron need to be doing skits together, even though
Oh,
it's physically
have they
impossible.
shown her video on Dynamite yet?
Not that I noticed, and I think I would notice, Harley
She
Cameron doing something.
she does a rap video and it's amazing, and then it segues right into a serious promo for her match on Saturday. It's so fucking good. How the fuck is she so damn talented? Like
I don't
she's
even
good at
know. Like,
everything. Like
yeah,
she can sing, she can fucking rap, she's funny, she's a better
yeah.
wrestler every time you see her. This is a Harley Cameron fan cast here.
I fell in love with her when she was on Heels either last year or the year before, when she was like just out of QTV and was just kind of floundering, but like
Yeah.
her personality was jumping out of Zoom, and it's like, holy shit, she like this person I don't know anything about. I fucking love her already. And
Yeah.
she she was one of our better guests. Um, but yeah, so Dirty White Boy comes in because again, he's a heel, but he loves Mr. Ron Wright, and he's gonna let Mr. Ron Wright do what he wants as long as he thinks it's in his best interest, or as long as Mr. Ron Wright is aware of it. But he threatens them again. There will be hell to pay if they hurt him. And
Yeah.
yeah, this
Yeah.
we are
This is
lighting fire on this angle here.
I just want the Dirty White Boy to beat Brian Lee's fucking skull into the ground and
Yep.
take Mr. Ron Wright home. God damn it.
Yep. Oh, all right. So believe it or not, there is more show to go. Um, Chris Comet was out next after getting beaten up in the Harrisy's Heavenly Bodysuit earlier to go one-on-one with Tracy Smothers. Tracy indicates that he wants the title, and to be honest, I think Juicy Johnny has a better chance at winning the title at this point than he does. Um, I don't remember my exact Smoky Mountain title history, but I legitimately don't think he wins the title ever again. I could be wrong though, but
Huh.
yeah. So that's the future we have to look forward to here. Um, all right. So then something happened in the middle of this nothing happening enhancement match. Something happened that raised my eyebrows, raised, I'm sure, your eyebrows, Trae, and made me take a screenshot. Let's go to Bob Caudle, who's going to plug ways that you can, you know, rent Smoky Mountain wrestlers and book them for personal appearances.
Hey, here's a tip for all you fans. If you own a business and you'd like to have a personal appearance from one of the Smoky Mountain stars, you can call Pam Lawson. That's Pam Lawson, 615-587-1273, and arrange it. That's one way to get customers in droves.
Pam Lawson making her first, at least not her first appearance, but being referenced for the first time here on Smoky Mountain. The famous Pam Lawson.
How much do you think it would cost to get Tim Horner to come to your birthday party?
I bet $75. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, let's be honest. How much do you think they were really charging for things like that at this point? Like,
give you 70 and a piece of cake.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet it was not a huge personal appearance fee.
Honestly,
like I remember,
I'm sure if you could track him down, you could get Tim Horner to come to your birthday party today.
I remember hearing, or I think I read this in Jericho's first book, that him and Lance got booked at a piano store as a personal appearance, and like only a handful of people showed up to it because who the hell's gonna go to a piano store to meet the Thrill Seekers in 1994 kind of thing? And but it's like, how much do you think the owner of that place really paid to get a couple hours of the Thrill Seekers time in 1994? Like $200
Canadian.
Maybe? Yeah.
$50 Canadian.
Yeah. Oh Lord. I just loved how Caudle said that's one way to get customers in droves. Well, I guess that's one way to whatchamacallit, get people on the show, I guess. But by the way, I'm distracted. I don't know. Have you ever listened to Wrestle Talk?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, there's one fucking person in the crowd who's been holding up a sign the entire fucking night, right on camera, saying, support Wrestle Talk. And I'm like, that sign is now so fucking annoying. I don't want to fucking ever listen to that show ever. Sorry, Wrestle Talk people.
I'm gonna have a hot take here. If you take a sign to a wrestling show and you are over 12 years old, you're an asshole.
There are a lot of assholes right on camera. There's somebody with an NWO sign. So, not like, they took the NWO lettering or the font or whatever and made an AEW referenced sign. No, they made a sign that says NWO. If I was behind because it's the same group of people that have the rest in peace Louis Spicoli sign, the Wrestle Talk sign, and the NWO sign are the same couple people. If I were the people sitting behind them, I'd want to beat their fucking ass by this point.
The closest.
What was that?
The closest that I have ever come to committing a homicide was at WrestleMania 32. When the woman sitting in front of me kept holding up this fucking sign and blocking my view, and we were in the nosebleeds behind the set, looking over the set at the ring. Yeah. I was the only person who saw that fucking sign.
I was on the exact opposite side of the stadium. But yeah, I didn't hold up a sign either for similar reasons, But by the way, they bring up again that Dirty White Boy and Mr. Ron Wright are the ones that put the bounty on Tracy Smothers' head, which is true, but it's so funny that we're not ignoring that that Dirty White Boy and Mr. Ron Wright are diabolical in the middle of their babyface turn. It's like
Yeah.
it's so weird because like especially nowadays, you watch like wrestling nowadays, like if somebody's turning babyface, they're not going to be a heel the entire time they're turning babyface. Like there's going to show a lot of babyface qualities, and they're gonna not going to cheat. They're not going to do things like put bounties on people's heads, or if they do, they're never going to bring it up again. But no, this like they are reminding you that yeah, Dirty White Boy is turning, but he's also an asshole and a despicable person. But that actually plays into it because he's despicable, and then he's going to, uh, prove to you why you should love him anyway.
Okay, there is a question about this that I have been burning to ask you, and I don't want to because I don't want to spoil it for myself.
What's the question? I don't have to answer it. You can just ask the
Because
question.
I have said often that like probably 90% of the time in the modern day, 95, 98, that like a triple threat or a four-way match is like uh, a crutch to get out of doing any actual booking. And I remember like Cornette, a lot of people credit Paul Heyman. Cornette invented the triple threat match. And I remember him explaining the psychology of the right way and the right reason to book a triple threat match. And so this storyline, they've got to be building to a triple threat match, right? With Brian Lee, Dirty White Boy, and Tracy Smothers.
I'll be honest, I don't know that for a fact, but I would assume so.
It makes like
I'm
from a
I'm thinking the
storytelling
same.
perspective,
Yeah.
that makes more sense than like any other triple threat match has ever been.
Oh yeah. Like I'm with you there totally. Like I'd bet they are building to a triple threat match, but I don't know for a fact that they are.
We shall find out
You
together.
know? Exactly. Um, so by the way, Tracy wins with a side roll that I cannot remember the name of, but it's the same roll up that Bret Hart used to beat British Bulldog at In Your House.
I will
Um,
bet you dollars to donuts that this was the first La Magistral to ever occur in Jellicoe, Tennessee.
yes, I thank you. I cannot remember the goddamn name of that. Yes. La Magistral. But yeah, I'm willing to bet it's the first La Magistral that's ever occurred outside of the Southwest United States
Do you remember that the Jericho story about that Brett match in his book?
that he taught Brett the move.
Yeah,
Yep.
because Jericho they were trying to keep like the program with Bulldog going, so they told Brett to beat him with a cradle. So he was trying to come up with a cradle, and Jericho had been working in Mexico, so that he the 1 2 3 kid like he on the locker room floor he showed Brett how to do the La Magistral and the 1 2 3 kid.
I mean, it sounds believable, but like, I mean, obviously, I mean, and Jericho's telling the story, so I mean, it's not his story to tell anyway. But I mean, you could say, oh well, they didn't even continue the feud because they didn't go back to Brett Bulldog at all after that. But also, like, you could look back and go that Bret Hart won a lot of matches with a cradle. Like, you
Yeah,
know, him and Flair, because like, it's easy. Oh yeah, Flair did the figure four, Bret Hart did the sharpshooter. Top guys did not submit. Like when it happened, it was very, very rare that a true top guy would actually submit back in the day. And so when you had someone like Bret Hart or Ric Flair, people whose submissions were their only finisher, they would win a lot of matches with roll-ups. And
I
like,
love
hmm?
I love the finish to Brett and Diesel at Survivor Series '95. That really
Oh
tight
yeah,
inside cradle out of nowhere, so good.
oh yeah. And actually, that was around the time that my brother and I came up with a theory that I think we found exceptions to it. But when Bret Hart would wear an all pink singlet, he would win. Like, because
Oh,
usually you have the pink top and the black pants. But when he would
yeah.
wear the pink top and pink pants, he would win. And
WrestleMania
that night,
8 is the one I remember.
yeah, that may have been the one that we thought of when we are like, oh, he always wins when he wears this combo. Do you remember when he had like the outfit that looked like I turned it? It looked like he dotted white paint all over. Like he took like a paint brush with white paint and like threw it on top of it and like dripped white paint all over it.
Yeah, I do kind of remember that.
Yeah. You know what I barely remember? The Tracy Smothers promo we're about to play. Let's go to Tracy. We really like going off on the tangents, don't we?
Yeah.
Uh, let's go to Tracy.
With us right now. Here's the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy's mother. Tracy Dutch and I have been talking about it all during the program. And the fans love you. It's a great welcome for you. There's a triangle now involving the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title. There's you, the Dirty White Boy, and of course the champion.
Time, Brian Lee. But you know something? That kid, Chris Comet, I wrestled right there. He gave me a heck of a test. I'm a little bit out of breath. But I'm going to tell you this. I just saw him a while ago. It looked like a soap opera. It looked like Days of Our Lives or The Young and the Restless or As the World Turns or something. Everybody's saying, poor old Ron Wright. Poor old dirty white boy, dirty white trash. I don't give 2 cents about those guys. Prima donna, pretty boy, primetime, Brian Lee. I'm going to back you into a corner. So I'm going to leave you with this, and it goes back to Country Boy Can Survive. Remember White Boy, remember Lee. Forget those guys. Remember me, the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers. And I'm coming to take the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title back where it belongs, around my waist. So see ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
All right.
All right. So before we talk about Tracy trying to force a new catchphrase, um, let's let me ask you a question. So
Okay.
do you think he gives 1 cent about the dirty white boy, Mr. Ron Wright? Because
Well,
he said he doesn't give 2 cents about them.
you know, Tracy has a good heart. I bet he does have 1 cent, just not 2 cents.
Yeah, there we go. Um,
I
now, do you know
look,
where that "see ya, wouldn't want to be ya" line comes from?
not exactly. I
So
know it was the 90s.
it came from the 1991 movie New Jack City. It was said by Wesley Snipes, and this Wesley Snipes was the black actor and not the pale white British guy who dated Liz Lemon. Um, but by the way, who do you think, if I told you the name Wesley Snipes, what do you think of? Do you think of a handsome black actor or a pale white British guy?
I think of the guy who played Blade.
Okay, well, if you just consider the name, most people think of the British guy. Anyway,
I
so
did not know
yeah,
did not know until this conversation that there was a British white guy named Wesley Snipes.
only on
But
only on the TV show 30 Rock.
by the way, what do you know what other wrestling thing came from the movie New Jack City?
New Jack?
Yes, that's where the name came from.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was a,
they.
I'm shocked I got that. Uh,
I liked. I thought it was cool that Tracy took a few seconds to put over Chris Comet a little bit. Yeah, he gave me a run for my money. I'm a little out of. I like when they give the enhancement guys just a little something. And yeah, I also wrote Tracy must have heard the phrase "see you wouldn't want to be you" for the first time this week and decided he liked it because he closed both this and his local promo with it.
I was actually going to ignore it if it was only on a local promo, but then he said it here. I'm like, oh, I can't ignore it
Yeah,
now.
me too.
And
Yeah.
actually, it gave me flashbacks as I remember being in school around this time and kids saying that.
Yeah,
So,
I am also a '90s kid. Yeah.
so from here, we're going to go to the second part of our favorite segment, Tammy's tips.
Oh,
Now, I, I forget if I mentioned this last time, but do you know, like at the beginning where they show her sitting on a table, do you know whose table that is?
who's?
Jim Cornette's.
See,
This
that's what I
was
would assume.
Yeah, this was filmed in his house. That was his kitchen table, and his wife was really pissed off that she was sitting on it.
I bet.
Yes, because apparently she didn't know how to clean a table, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to this week's installment of Tammy's Tips.
Tammy Fytch, and I'm here with Tammy's Tips. I know many of you in the Smoky Mountain area are underprivileged. You don't know what it's like to live in the big city. You haven't had the advantages that I have had. You're poor. So I wanted to do something to help you because I, like Hillary Clinton, strongly believe in charity work. Many of you have come to me and said, Tammy, you're so beautiful. How can we be as beautiful as you are? Well, I can't work miracles, but I can give you the benefit of my knowledge of makeup, exercise, hair, skin, and nail care, and social graces. In weeks to come, I plan on taking a typical average woman of this area and transform her into an acceptable human being. Now, let's go to this week's installment of Tammy's Tips. Here we are again with another week of Tammy's Tips. This week, we'll be talking about table manners because I know it probably hasn't happened yet, but ladies at home, one of these days before you die, you may be asked out on a date by a man, and he may want to take you to dinner. So today we're going to concentrate on table manners. I'll teach you how to act at a table, how to eat, what you're served for dinner. And I have instructed Margie on preparing chicken Kiev, parsley potatoes, a vegetable medley, and a salad. And she should be coming any minute. What is that?
I couldn't find that Kev's chicken place, so I got Hardee's instead.
Fine, it'll do. Just sit down. Put it down and just sit down. What is in here? Coleslaw?
All I could get was coleslaw.
I guess this will do a salad. We'll use this for the salad since you couldn't prepare what I asked to prepare. Oh, God. Ooh, ew. Okay, eat your salad. No, will you use your salad fork, please?
Well, both of them's got prongs on.
Oh, never mind. Give me the chicken. Put that down. Give me the chicken. What did you get? Ew. Oh, God. Ew. Oh, God. Just eat here. Eat your chicken. Eat that greasy thing. No. Oh, God, not with your hands. Put it down. A lady never eats anything with her hands. You use your knife and fork. Please use your knife and fork and eat your chicken. Never mind. Put that down. Never mind. A lady with your figure shouldn't be eating fried foods anyway. As a matter of fact, join us next week. Well, I'll have some diet and exercise tips here on Tammy's Tips. Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. That honestly may be better than the last one.
Arya, I have to confess something.
Yes, Trae.
I think I'm in love with Margie.
Because instead of making chicken Kiev and parsley potatoes, she went out and bought Hardee's.
That segment, I adored her, and then when she gave it, I couldn't find that kid's chicken place, so I got Hardee's instead. When she tells her don't eat the fucking greasy chicken with your hands, and then she finally just calms and give up, and Margie just picks up the chicken and takes a big old bite and smiles. Look, I would 100% ask Margie on a date.
By the way, that's why you heard Tammy Fytch say, "Oh God," at the end there. Oh,
And it was going to be a
Lord.
different woman every time, but if it's Margie every time, I love it so much more.
It is Margie every time.
That's phenomenal.
Oh, yes, yes, it is. Um, I she's just so perfectly pompous too.
Oh,
Like,
it,
you know, and like it's funny because like the evolution of her during this, it's like the first one, she was trying to be helpful but was getting thrown off by Margie's job and her nails and everything. And then this time it's like she started to, and as soon as Margie shows up with the fried chicken, she's like, "Oh my God." And it was just amazing. I love this segment. I love Tammy's tips, and I love Margie.
Yes, this is fantastic shit.
Yes. Now I actually had to ask you: is Hardee's still a thing?
It is. I did not know that they had chicken. Maybe that was a '90s thing. Maybe it was a Hardee's is a burger place. It used to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's okay. It's I stopped. I used to fuck with Hardee's every now and then because I like the burgers. I stopped. The only reason I stopped eating Hardee's was my wife had like her stomach would get really upset whenever she ate Hardee's. So I haven't eaten Hardee's in a long
Yeah.
time.
So I remember we had a Hardee's near where I grew up, but I don't remember ever eating there. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remembered it being a burger place.
Well,
Um,
West Coasters, it's the same company as Carl's Jr.
and East Coasters, those are just two places you can eat if you live in the South or the West Coast. Um, so yeah, I finished after this segment writing, I love this fucking show. Um,
Oh
but
yeah.
from here we have Mr. Daryl Van Horn, last week co-host, this week manager. Let's go to Mr. Daryl Van Horn because he has something to say about his Egyptian prince.
All right, fans, with us right now, new to the Smoky Mountain Wrestling area, Mr. Daryl Van Horn.
That's right, I'm back here in the Smoky Mountain area once again for the last time in a few weeks, here in the land of rednecks, white trash, and blue-collar scum. All the paperwork has been signed. The right palms have been greased, the backs have been rubbed. In fact, we're getting together a group of Nubian princesses to tend to my Egyptian prince's needs. And he's going to make his debut at the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, where he will change the face of Smoky Mountain Wrestling as we know it. In fact, we've got all kinds of things going on. We're putting together a harem for my prince right now, Bob Caudle. It includes Vanessa Del Rio, Nina Hartley, Amber and Ginger Lynn, Tracy Lords. The list goes on and on. You people had better start showing me and my man proper respect when he comes in here and makes his debut. You shut up, hillbilly. I want everybody out here to understand something. This man will change the face of Smoky Mountain Wrestling as we know it. All we need to do now is find the first victim. And you fat women over there yelling at me to shut up, get something through your heads. I will never leave because my absence would enrich the lives of the unfit, and I would never be that charitable.
Fans, on that, let's go to the ring.
All right. So he gets off to a weird start. He says he's here for the last time for a few weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Daryl. But then he starts name dropping porn stars as people he's getting together to take care of his Egyptian prince, who's going to be here at the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder.
I appreciated the list of who's who of early '90s porn legends. The first porno movie that I ever obtained a copy of as a young man was titled "The Secret Life of Nina Hartley." So I will always have a soft spot in my heart and a hard place in other spots for her.
So you knew who she was, who these people were immediately.
As soon as he said Nina Hartley, and then there were I think he named four names, and I knew the second and the fourth one.
Yeah.
Tracy Lord, Nina Hartley and Tracy Lords, yeah.
Yeah, I ruined my Google search history by trying to look them up, see who the hell they were.
Made it
Because
better.
I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of watching other people have sex, so porn has never really been my thing. But hey, some people enjoy it.
I've been
But
known
yeah,
to partake now and again.
the Egyptian prince is debuting in a few weeks at Thanksgiving Thunder, and we're looking for his first sacrifice. And do you know who that first sacrifice is?
Um, uh, hold on. Is it Bobby Blaze?
I'm gonna wait I'm going to let you wait and find out. But you're on the right track.
Okay.
All right. So then we get champion versus champion here. And I don't think we really appreciated this last week when they wrestled 4 times on the show. But we had U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion Bobby Blaze. And I didn't actually write Bobby Blaze. I just wrote U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion versus the WWA World Heavyweight Champion, Chris Candido. Chris Candido did his acai crossbody to the floor, which is finally getting something of a reaction from these dumb hillbillies in Tennessee. Blaze did a top rope crossbody to the floor. These fans are really not appreciating the danger these people are putting themselves in, so maybe they should stop doing it. Candido did what Husky Harris, Bray Wyatt, and Bo Dallas have never done, and that's channel their inner Mike Rotundo by slapping on the abdominal stretch and grabbing the ropes for leverage. It's a travesty to me that neither of his kids have ever done that.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. It's literally the only move that Mike Rotundo knew how to do after a while.
Like Mike Rotundo.
And he was in All Japan in 2002. I'm assuming you were or have watched All Japan 2002. Was he regularly doing that then?
I have not seen a lot of. I've seen some. I have not come across Mike Rotundo in 2002 All Japan yet. I'll see what I have. I bet I have some. I'll look.
Okay. But then let's see here. So after Chris Candido channels inner Mike Rotundo, Bobby Blaze channeled his inner Booty Man and hit the Heine for a 2 count. And then Candido grabbed the chain out, and he was so obvious about it that I'm like, okay, we're getting a DQ, we're getting a reversal of a decision, we're getting, the chain's going to be under the armpit, and Mark Curtis is going to lift the arm up, and the chain's going to fall out. Nope, none of the above. Chris Candido just really wanted to telegraph this. He grabbed the chain and knocked Blaze the fuck out to win the match and the championship. The king is dead. Long live the new king.
So I have quite a bit to say about this match. And this show has been so damn good. Like this might be its top 3 Smoky Mountain episodes that I've reviewed. And then we get on top of this would have been a great show anyway. And then we got our quarterly greater than or equal to 3-star match. This was a hell of a good little match. They were out there doing shit at a fucking East Tennessee high school gym that only Jushin Liger and the Great Sasuke were doing in 1993. And
Bob, how do you think Bobby Blaze managed to get past Liger in that title tournament?
Yeah. I bet Liger respected him and taught him some tricks. Oh, I did want to point out just for the sake of it that if you look at the title history, it makes sense by the way it lines up. But this match was actually taped before the 3 matches that they showed us last week. So if you're just watching the show in order, it would appear that this was Candido beating Bobby Blaze to become the 6th champion, when it was in fact him becoming the 2nd champion.
Yes. Now, and I probably should have looked this up because I was thinking about that too. Didn't they then have the first night of the Parade of Champions, Candido beat him again for the title? Because we didn't see that. We just saw, the second, third, and fourth nights.
According to everything I've seen, they didn't wrestle in Barberville.
I could swear they did, but okay. I'll take your word for it.
No, not they wrestled in Barberville. They didn't wrestle in Hazard. Hazard was night 1. Oh. They didn't wrestle in Hazard. They wrestled in Knoxville, Barberville, and Johnson City.
So I guess this asks the obvious question, because last week we were told that Candido had won the title previously, which I guess in this case would have been this match here, and then he lost it, won it, lost it, won it. Does Bobby Blaze come out now as the junior champion?
Uh, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
So Candido won the title on this show taped on October 4th. And
Correct.
that was the title win that when they went to the second night of the Parade of Champions, or whatever night of the Parade of Champions it was,
Okay.
that they
Okay.
announced
Yeah.
that, yeah.
I don't know what they do on TV. I do know Candido does beat Bobby Blaze for the title again. I think it's like November 6th at a house show.
All right. So yeah, this title has a janky history. This is almost,
Yeah.
Nasty Boys in WCW 1995 levels of title wins.
But this is the whole title history too.
Yeah. Except for like when they bring it back for a
Yeah.
couple house shows in like the summer of 95 with Al Snow.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know it either until I was looking it up. Um, yeah. By the way, spoiler alert, Al Snow is eventually going to make his way into the territory.
I don't think it's Al Snow a
Um,
junior heavyweight.
I don't know. Like again, they never give us a weight limit, so anybody and everybody could be a junior heavyweight.
Guess
They
so.
um I guess they didn't quite go as far as they went. I was looking at the other house show results, the one that's happening tonight in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, in front of 300 people. The main event is the Rock and Roll Express, the Armstrongs, the Heavenly Bodies, and the Harrises in a four-way match. And then the undercard is almost all singles matches between those 8 people.
Like you got to keep your payroll down.
Exactly. Um, and then so we have a new champion. Candido cut a 15-second promo where he threatened to throw the belt in the river. I didn't timestamp that because I mean, again, it's 15 seconds. Um, and then we end the show with an appearance by the Bullet, who has his mask and he has something to say about the upcoming Thanksgiving Thunder Tour.
Fans, this man right here is already primed and ready for the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder, the Bullet.
You know, I am ready for the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, just like you saying I'm in the hot seat, brother. I have accepted the challenge of Mr. Jim Cornette for the Four Faces of Fear match. And I want to tell you, Cornette, I don't care what kind of match it is, because I'm a man with a mission, and that's to put Bob Armstrong back in the commissioner's chair where he belongs. So you bring them on. I don't care if they're 7 foot tall. I'll cut them right down to eye level and knock them into the middle of next week. And talking about Faces of Fear, when Thanksgiving rolls around, I'm going to be looking you dead in the eye, and the only face I fear I'm going to see is yours, brother. Now, he thinks he's got me over a barrel. But, brother, when you're fighting for the right, you can go a long, long way. And as you can see, brother, I'm standing here and standing tall. Bob, what does it say on the back of this shirt?
Bad to the bone.
And I just want you to know, Cornette, that you ugly skin deep, but I'm bad to the bone. And Thanksgiving, I'm going to show you. And when it's all over on Thanksgiving, you will be the biggest turkey of all. And the Bullet was going to be saying, gobble, 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 I got you again, brother. So bring them on. Four Faces of Fear, I don't care what I got to do. If I have to climb that mountain, I am ready to climb that mountain. So bring your bad self on. Yeah.
All right, fans. The second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour.
So, Trae, the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour is coming up in 1 month. That's the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder. It's over Thanksgiving weekend, the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. And on the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, the Bullet is going to have 4 matches on the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. However, I wasn't sure if this is going to be him in 4 different or him versus 4 different opponents, or the same opponent with 4 different stipulations, which is actually what it was last year when they had the Heavenly Bodies and the Rock and Roll Express. They had they wrestled 4 times with 4 different steps.
It's a Four Faces of Fear match, so I assume that meant one night he's going to wrestle Haku, one night he's going to wrestle the Barbarian, and then he's going to wrestle Ming, and then he's going to wrestle Bob Marion.
See, the three faces of fear in WCW were Kevin Sullivan, Avalanche, and the Butcher, Brutus Beefcake.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. Maybe
Spoiler
well,
alert, the Butcher is not coming in to Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
oh, thank God.
I know you're very upset about that, I'm sure.
He's in fucking
Now,
New Japan right now. You know how much that offends me? By right now, I mean 1993.
yeah. I mean, it would really offend me now because they're in 2025. But but he's there for the same reason Brutus Beefcake is everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
they're bringing in Hogan, and Hogan wants his friend brought in.
Yeah.
And how bad do you want
Oh my
Hogan?
God. Did you see the other day that Hogan in some interview was complaining that like all the wrestlers today are old and in his day people didn't want to see people over 40? Hulk Hogan said this. Hulk Hogan, who in 1994 at the age of 40 signed up with WCW and immediately made them hire all of his friends.
And also refused to put anybody under 40 over, and famously did a interview saying that nobody under the age of 40 could draw.
I thought that was a Nash line.
I thought Hogan did it too. Well,
Yeah, I don't. You're probably right.
either way, it's not like Hogan was putting over all the young stars of the company. Like the youngest
Yeah.
person he fucking put over was Goldberg, who was like 37 at the time. So, tells you everything you need to know. Um,
Yeah.
oh, didn't he like once call Diamond Dallas Page one of the young kids of WCW?
I think
And
so.
like Page is like 41, 42 at the time.
The
Ah,
youngster Carlos Colon entering the Royal Rumble.
yes. The WWE YouTube page was doing a 24/7 stream of Royal Rumbles a few weeks ago, and I turned it on during the '93 Rumble just as Carlos Colon came out, and I realized it's like that youngster Carlos Colon, was probably 41 years old at the time. Um, so next week they tell us that, and I guess Bullet may not make it to the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour because next week his mask is on the line against Killer Kyle.
Well,
I,
he might not even make it to the. No, I really appreciate the great rich history of pro wrestling on Thanksgiving, and I really applaud SNW's decision to hold the Thanksgiving. Now, is this the first Thanksgiving Thunder Tour?
no, believe it or not, it's the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour.
Oh wow, oh wow, how about that? That is just terrific. By the way,
But
we do
by the
have one of those shows on tape that I'm sure we will watch.
maybe not. Um, by the way, Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuri Shibata's team name, the Ops. Do you know that that's spelled with two P's?
I don't know if that's better or worse.
Yeah. Um, I do know. Well, actually, I don't know because I didn't have the audio on. I don't. So I. But according to the graphic, they will not be wrestling the Patriarchy for the trios title next week.
Okay. I wonder how they edited that because he said it quick. I'll have to watch it back later.
I mean, from what I could see, like they just had it on Joe. I don't think they edited it out because like it was pretty much on Joe the entire promo from what I could see anyway. Right now, by the way, in case you cares, Chris Statlander versus Taya Valkyrie.
Penelope Ford.
Ah, was it? Okay, yeah. Oh God, yeah, it is Penelope Ford. I just saw a blonde. Like Jesus Christ, she's not even that thick. How the hell did I confuse her with Taya Valkyrie? Oh well.
Okay, Penelope
So
Ford is blonde. Taya Valkyrie today, her hair is the color of rancid piss.
I say I don't know the last time I saw Taya Valkyrie, but her natural hair color is blonde.
I know, but if you've seen her lately, she is like it's like this yellow green, like it's like if you see it, you think rancid piss.
Oh, I bet Johnny Mundo approves of it anyway.
like one
Uh,
time, like an episode of ROH or Rampage or something, that he had a fucking like vest or like ring jacket on that was the same color as her hair.
Maybe that's where she got the idea. Well,
I don't know.
by the way, next week, in addition to Bolt's Mask versus Killer Kyle, is spoiler alert, the greatest moment in Smoky Mountain history is next week.
The greatest what?
The greatest moment in Smoky Mountain history is next week.
Okay, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yes,
I
it's
yeah.
I love this moment. In my opinion, it is the greatest, and we've seen a lot of great moments in the past year and a half. We're going to see a lot more in the next 2 years. But this, in my opinion, is the number one greatest moment in Smoky Mountain history. Next week.
Yeah,
Um,
great show, good angles, good promos, a good match. This was an embarrassment of riches. Like this is, I assume that this is like the peak of SMW.
in 2 years, when we're watching some really bad shit, we're gonna be like, man, they really overbooked some of those '93 shows where we were spoiled. Um, but 91 down, 109 to go. And when we get to 200, I'm gonna have to admit why I say that, the 91 down, 109 to go thing. Because I actually got that, much like how I got my middle name from TV. I got the idea for this off of TV. Um, anyway, so while during one of those long ass promo segments, I did pull up the Observer and jot down some notes. So we do have a what else is happening in the world of wrestling. So Halloween Havoc 93 happened this week. Vader beat Cactus Jack in a Texas death match. Rick Rude beat Ric Flair for the newly rechristened WCW International World Title. And even though it's a relatively forgettable pay-per-view, it did receive a 70% thumbs up by the people who wrote in for the Observer.
I got I'm
Mhm.
about, let me see. I'm about a week behind. I got to get to that. I've got, what do I have to watch? Uh, Pancras, the second Pancras, Saturday night, All Japan, Raw, a ring show, Saturday night, All Japan, and then Halloween Havoc. I need to maybe I'll get to it this weekend. We'll see.
I'd say, is that all you have to watch? Come on, dude. There's only 12 hours of wrestling. Um,
At least there's not more New Japan for a couple of weeks.
yes. Now, do you remember last week when I mentioned that Randy Savage went off on Hulk Hogan on Radio WWF?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently there's even slightly more to that story. Hulk
Oh,
Hogan was originally asked to be on that show, and by all accounts, it was set up to be an ambush by Savage.
yeah.
It was so yeah, Hogan smartly realized that he probably shouldn't do that show, and he avoided all that garbage. Like that time, Awesome Kong was on the Bubba the Love Sponge show, and it wasn't even Bubba the Love Sponge; it was a different show, and it was a setup by the host and Bubba to ambush her, and she couldn't do it, and she had to call in over the phone. Do you remember that?
I I remember her attacking him backstage at Impact over like shit he said about Haiti after an earthquake.
Yeah, it was right after that, after she got Future Endeavored from TNA.
He's a
By the way, I
really,
missed
really gross person.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yes.
By the way, I missed the Harley Cameron promo. I mean, I didn't miss it in the sense that I could see it happening, but I missed it in the sense I didn't listen to it. And
You gotta go back.
now the Ass Boys are out to wrestle the Hurt Business. But so there's a third bit of news from the Observer, and this one I'm going to read word for word here. Both the New York Daily News and the Miami Herald ran stories about about University of Miami defensive tackle Dwayne Johnson, talking about him
Ooh.
being the son of longtime pro wrestler Rocky Johnson. He claimed his uncles included Jimmy Snuka, the Head Shrinkers, and the Wild Samoans, which I don't believe would actually be blood relatives as much as spiritual. Johnson, who is 6'5", 275 pounds, is a redshirt junior who splits time in a rotating foursome at defensive tackle and will likely someday end up in pro wrestling.
Wonder whatever became of that kid.
Whatever happened to Dwayne?
Think you think he'll become the most famous man in the world in 30 years? I don't know the most. He got to be up there. It's like,
No.
where do you think The Rock ranks as most recognizable people on Earth?
I would say easily top 5.
Yeah, yeah. It's
And
but the like when the Islanders talk about like the family ties, like I think a lot of people don't appreciate as Westerners. In like Samoan culture, those like adoptive family ties are taken very seriously.
yeah, see, it's like one of those things though, like that people, I don't want to say chuckle at, but people kind of roll their eyes at, but how all Samoans are related kind of thing. Because, it's not our culture, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that's pretty much coming here to the end of this. Um, so it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Are you doing anything with the wife?
Uh, Planning on we're gonna there's a place near us that we really like that's all you can eat sushi, but it's not like a buffet, it's a like made to order, so it's really good. So we're gonna go have sushi and when I was I'm gonna lower my voice a little bit because she's in the other room. When I was driving home from Austin last night, I stopped at Bucky's, and I should have bought it last night, and I just spaced and forgot. They had the cutest little Valentine's Day stuffed Bucky Beaver, and so tomorrow slash today slash Thursday, I'm driving up to Nacogdoches, so I'm gonna stop at the Bucky's in Madisonville and pick up that little stuffed beaver for her.
You better really hope that this is not the week she decides to listen to our podcast.
She will never listen to this podcast.
I don't know whether to be hurt by that or not. Um,
It's not you.
but
She's never listened to any I've done fucking dozens and dozens of podcasts. She's never listened to one of them.
well, speaking of podcasts that she's not going to listen to, you want to plug the Oh My God cast?
Yeah, new Oh My God cast dropped on Tuesday. It's a good one. We're continuing our coverage of Bloodfest '93.
I
It's it. Other than I fucking hate Maddie in the house, it's really quite enjoyable. So yeah,
What's that?
ohmygodcast.com.
I was gonna say, after all that we talked about, you still thought that was a good episode? I mean, I haven't watched it, so I don't know, but yeah, you were not a fan of poor Maddie in the house and Jason Knight, and I actually remember that segment you were talking about, because I remember, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I seem to remember it gets replayed later on, because I know I've seen it more than once.
Uh,
Tell me, Jason, here in the ECW, who are you going to manage? I'm going
I'm
to
gonna
manage
manage to keep my
to
suits clean.
Ah!
God.
Ah!
Uh,
It's so
just think,
awful that I can't help but laugh at it, and it made me laugh when you finally got to it because I'm like, dude, I tried to warn you this was coming, and
I,
oh
I
Lord.
just think about the ground that this covers. Maybe the most annoying human being that has ever been featured on a professional wrestling show. Think of the ground that covers.
Was there anybody better though to interview Jason Knight,
No, that was perfect.
the
10 out of
sexiest
10, no
man in the
notes.
world?
Yeah.
Yes. I got to tell you, I'm getting some hives here talking about Jason. So I I think it's about time for us to wrap things up here. All right, so another really good episode, and we're gonna have to find some time to do next week's show at some point because Saturday is off the table. But anywho, Um, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you to everyone for listening. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye, y'all.